Good afternoon. Hi, can everyone hear me? Well, welcome. I'm Mary Culler, and I'm the president of the Ford Fund, which is the philanthropic arm of the Ford Motor Company. And I just want to welcome you today to the Ford Calumet Environmental Center. Yay! I hope everyone will clap. So it's been really fun for me personally to be here because, if you'll just indulge me for a second, I was involved in this project from the beginning. And since the time that we provided the funding, that Ford Motor Company provided the funding, I have had 3 children and one of them is in college. So I can tell you that this is a really exciting day, and it is beautiful. I'm so excited to be here. Before I start, I just want to thank my colleague, Tony Reinhardt, from Ford Motor Company. Tony's a rock star. So I don't want to speak for very long because I know there are other people who are here today, but I just wanted to express quickly how proud Ford Motor Company is to be part of this community effort. We've been in this community for over 100 years, and we've obviously been providing jobs. We've been making great products on the south side of the city for many years. But really what makes us special, I think, as a company is that we really do pride ourselves in being a good neighbor and being an important community member. And so for over 100 years, we've been giving back to the community. We've been doing everything from providing resources to help feed people to actually providing masks. We provided a lot of masks that Ford made during COVID, and so we were able to distribute those through nonprofits. But ultimately, at the end of the day, what we are celebrating here is something that's very true to our hearts as well, because Ford has a long sustainability history, and of course it's an industrial icon, but we have an executive chair by the name of Bill Ford, who's the great-grandson of Henry Ford, and he has been an environmental champion from the beginning. And he was one of the first to ever have a corporate sustainability report, which was over 20 years ago, where we talked about the things that we were doing well and the things that we weren't doing well. And he would be so proud to see this environmental center because it really would incorporate all the things that are dear to his heart. So I want to thank everyone from Big Marsh. For those of you who were involved in the beginning, originally it was going to be somewhere else, but it is amazing that it's here because when I look at these trails and I look at the biking paths, what an amazing opportunity to make this a destination place for everybody in the area. So I really want to thank everybody. I want to thank the Chicago Park District. I want to thank the mayor for all her support. I really want to thank the Alderman Garza, for all your support, because this really can't be done alone. This is a perfect example of a fantastic public-private partnership, and we should all be proud of what we've accomplished here today. So thank you, and with that, I'd like to introduce the mayor.
You know what? It's always a great thing when we have a packed house for something that's good, that's going to really help transform the lives of people in a community. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, Mary, so much for everything that Ford does. You are a great community partner, not just because of the jobs that you provide, although that's important, but you understand the importance of civic engagement. So let's make sure we keep you here for another 100 years. We're here today to cut the ribbon on the much anticipated Ford Calumet Environmental Center. And helping me mark this occasion, in addition to Mary Culler, is Alderwoman Sue Garza. A lot of aldermen do a lot of great work in their communities, but there are a few who really have the heart of their community like Sue Garza does. She's a friend, a supporter, but more importantly, she is somebody who is an absolute everyday champion of her community. So thank you, Sue, for everything that you do. I also want to thank Interim Park District General Superintendent Rosa Escareno. She's been on the job a short time, but man, oh man, is she making great changes and leading our great men and women of the Chicago Park District forward. So thank you, Rosa. I want to thank Executive Director of People for Community Recovery, Cheryl Johnson. Thank you so much for everything that you do on a daily basis. You know, Chicago is a really remarkable place. I can remember when I first came here 30 plus years ago and just seeing the vast expanse of this incredible city. Knowing then that there were communities that were urban and gritty, but also beautiful with greenery, and communities needing green space and having a place for communities to be able to walk the streets, join with one another, and just recover from the burdens of the day. This is what we also must be about. This is why the Park District and our park system is so important. And although we live in a big city and thrive from being among the skyscrapers, every now and again, we must have fresh air and the ability to enjoy and gather in green spaces and natural areas. That's just one of the many reasons why our city's parks, our wooded areas, lakes and rivers are so precious and so important for us to do everything that we can to preserve them for future generations to come. And in that spirit, I'm thrilled that the Ford Calumet Environmental Center will serve as an anchor for the expanding southeast side park system. This long-awaited facility will connect our residents to this region's natural resources and park amenities, particularly the great Big Marsh Park. With Big Marsh Park is a truly rich and impressive jewel within the Park District system, boasting so much biodiversity. And let me tell you a little bit about this for those of you who don't know. This 280-acre park, that's a massive amount of territory. 280-acre park and wetlands are home to over 150 species of birds, as well as deer, beaver, turtle, other animals, and flora. And there's a world-class bike park and routes for hiking, bird watching, and trail running. The new facility is a celebration of that environmental, cultural, and industrial history of the surrounding area. And its 9,300 square foot community hub has a lobby and community room, concessions and bike maintenance space, as well as public restrooms. It will have an educational exhibit depicting the history and ecology of our southeast side natural areas, and a large multi-purpose classroom for schools and community groups to explore and learn. Our young people need to be close to nature, and they need to be able to come and learn from experts about what this area and others across our city have to offer. So that's one of the pieces that I'm most excited about. It also leverages $7.8 million to host and deliver educational, eco-recreational, and stewardship-related programming to residents and visitors. Furthermore, the center is ecologically conscious from the inside out. Let me tell you about that. This building is a LEED Silver development with a bird-safe exterior design. Many of you know that Chicago is on the migration flight plan for birds going north in the summer months and birds going south from Canada. And one of the biggest challenges that we have as a large urban center is making sure that those birds can do their migration each way safely. And that's critically important. This building also supports Chicago's first ever controlled wastewater wetland that utilizes natural plant materials to filter and clean water. And we're facing a critical moment this time to make sure that we do everything that we can to protect and preserve our clean air, our water, plants, animals, and other precious resources. And it should be lost on no one that we're making this announcement when world leaders are gathering to hopefully finally make real progress on climate commitment. But we can't wait. But we can't wait, and we must take that leadership on our own, and that's exactly what we're doing here today. At every possible opportunity, we need to create structures that advance our city's sustainability and be centered around climate resiliency and environmental justice. To that end, our recently approved 2022 fiscal year budget includes $188 million investment in climate adaptation and environmental justice priorities. Folks, that's a big deal. The outlined investments will fund neighborhood climate resiliency projects, expand green infrastructure, and overall reap historic outcomes. One other thing that I absolutely love about this center is its connection to our signature economic development program, Invest Southwest, which we targeted community areas, Roseman and Pullman neighborhoods, which are nearby. And for those of you who don't know, this is a program that we announced 2 years ago. It's supposed to be a 3-year commitment, $750 million city dollars, with the hopes that we would attract an equal number in investments of private and philanthropic dollars. Now, I don't want to steal my own thunder, but folks, we did it a lot faster with a lot more money, and we'll be making that announcement sometime soon. But this is fundamentally about really working with community to reshape their view of their local community and how we can reshape and transform neighborhoods all across the city. And this investment really helps spur that along. I just want to say hello to my friend, State Representative Marcus Evans. He was with me at an earlier announcement. I beat you here. This center will draw residents and visitors to Big Marsh Park who can visit the surrounding communities and their small businesses, spurring economic activity on our southeast side. It will therefore boost what we're doing in adjacent communities. This center is proof of the importance of public-private partnerships, and we can see how Ford's investment and commitment to our city brought this project to life. Now, it may have been a long time coming, but we're here now, and we're excited. And I hope we continue working with Ford in the future and further uplift our communities. All in all, I just want to say I'm super excited that we can finally cut the ribbon on this transformative center, open a new gateway to our southeast side parks. And I look forward to seeing a flurry of activity come this way. The Alderwoman and I talk all the time about what we need to do to change the fortunes of this community, and we are committed to doing just that, and I'm excited to work in partnership with all of you. Now, with that, I'm going to invite Rosa Escarena to come up and say a few words on behalf of the Park District. Rosa?
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rosa Escareno, and I'm the Interim General Superintendent and CEO of the Chicago Park District. I am very proud to be here today on such an important project, and it is my pleasure to join the members of the community, legislators, and certainly the Ford Company and all of the partners that have made this a reality. This is an exciting time, not only for the Chicago Park District, but for the entire city, the patrons that are going to be enjoying this, the entire southeast side community, and to my friend and partner, Chairwoman Garza, and to all Chicagoans that I know are already making this a destination for cycling, for bird watching, and for trailing. So a lot has been invested into the Big Marsh Park over the years, and while it's taken 20 years to bring this center to fruition, know that there's been a lot of activity. A lot of things have been happening in this area. And so yes, 20 years for the center, but not 20 years in terms of all the benefits that have come to this park. So with that, hundreds of acres of restored natural area habitat, a multitude of biking activity, including the BMX jump lines, single track courses, and the largest pump track in Illinois, walking trails along the marsh frequented by our local birders, picnic, grilling areas, and local art, and now the new state-of-the-art Ford Calumet Environmental Center, which is what we're here for today. In September of 2013, the Millennium Reserve Steering Committee identified the Ford Calumet Environment Center as one of the 14 priority initiatives for the Millennium Reserve. This open space reserve system within the Calumet region was envisioned to connect green space throughout northeastern Illinois, so not just Chicago, but through the entire state. This center has been, again, more than 20 years in the making, but definitely worth the wait. We are thrilled to cut the ribbon today and open the center to the public. The mission of the Ford Calumet Environmental Center is to create a gateway, a center point that knits together the Calumet region to serve local communities, draw in regional visitors, and celebrate the region's environmental, cultural, and recreational assets. We know this center will do just that and a lot more. This building will serve as a multi-functional environmental center, as well as Big Marsh's base of operations. The $7.8 million region-focused environmental stewardship and education center is visible, accessible, modular, flexible, sustainable, and efficient. And with a design like no other, as the mayor was just indicating, the friendliness of this to the environment is unlike no other. The facility features approximately 9,300 square feet of indoor space, a large multi-purpose classroom, community room, an education and exhibit space, as you may have seen on your way in, a concession area with bike maintenance. That way all those cyclers and bikers that are coming here actually have a space here to take care of all their needs. An official lobby and public restrooms, which are much needed. The center will host nature-based programming that will utilize the surrounding Big Marsh for environmental education, something that we're all very excited about, so our young kids know how to continue the preservation and the environmental well-being of our city. This will also include guided nature walks, classroom instruction, science-based curriculum, and other environmental programming consistent with the mission of the Park District. Incredibly impressive to mention, the building is not connected to the city's sewer, and to support the first ever controlled wastewater wetland in Chicago, a septic system that utilizes natural plant material to filter and clean water. There's no other like this. This is a Chicago first. This is a Chicago first decentralized wastewater treatment and disposal systems. Imagine that in the middle of this facility. A transitional project such as this, like all great endeavors, would not be possible without collaboration and leadership. We would like to again thank Mayor Lightfoot and the entire team for their support, the City of Chicago and multiple agencies that we work with, the Millennium Reserve Steering Committee, Chicago Community Trust, Ford Motor Company, State Representative Maurice Marcus, People for Community Recovery, Friends of Big Marsh, the 10th Ward, our friend Alderwoman Susan Garza, community members, engineers, landscapers, park staff, and all those involved in the programming. It's really this entire community collaboration that is going to push our city forward in sustainability and environmental protection. The Ford Calumet Environmental Center will serve as an anchor for the surrounding community, and we look forward to bringing education and enrichment opportunities to Chicago residents for years to come. And last but not least, it's important to highlight the Big Marsh is connected, as the mayor was indicating, to the Rosalind Pullman targeted Invest Southwest community for investment to receive $1.5 million in TIF funding to support the next phase of the redevelopment. So yes, it's taken 20 years, but guess what? There are more years of more development and more improvements to come to this area, and we're extremely proud of that. That phase will conclude a multi-use accessible trail around the perimeter of the park with boardwalks over wetland marsh, pavilions and overlooks, camping platforms, entry plaza, and nature signage. So again, we're very excited about this, but so much more to come that's going to benefit us also. We're very, very excited. So as you may have seen when you arrived, we're already under construction for the next phase of the improvement that will be completed in the summer of 2022. A state OSLAD grant was awarded for that phase of the work as well. So Big Marsh with the new Ford Calumet Environmental Center is starting to feel very much complete. The offerings, the vast options for nature exploration for all ages. The Ford building and bug catching to bird watching to BMX jump lines, there's just something for everyone. Designed to serve designed to serve the Southside community and celebrate the region's environmental, cultural, and recreational assets, we cannot wait to see the $30 million investment continue to thrive and serve. With that, I want to bring up one of the biggest champions and supporters of environmental and nature spaces in this region, Cheryl Johnson, the Executive Director of People for Community Recovery, to say a few words. And I know that your grandmother was the leader and the champion. Your mother, yes, your mother. I am so sorry. But I want to thank you and your mother for all your work. Thank you.
I would just like to say, wow, this is extraordinary. Long time coming, but they say the things you wait for would be the best. But I have to give homage for the folks that was before me. I live in Allgale Gardens. I've been a resident all my life, and I've been fighting this fight for 36 years now. And I want to give homage to the people who I'm following in their footsteps. Number one is my mother, Hazel Johnson, known as the Mother of Environmental Justice. And Marion Burns. Them two, I had many good times, and they are strong fighters for this area, especially for the conservation of all the wetlands, and particularly in this area. Marion Burns was a stickler to make sure she could protect the big marsh. And I also have to say that we organize neighborhood groups, Citizens United to Reclaim the Environment. We worked for a long time to see this come. And it's an honor to say that I had the opportunity and the privilege to be when Ford Motor Company announced that they was going to build the Ford Suppliers Campus, and that they was going to allocate money to build this center here. Yeah, it may took 20 years, but 20 years is just like a new day for me. The reason why I say it's a new day for me because I can breathe now. To have a mayor to allocate $188 million to include environmental justice. When many nights I have seen my mother cry because the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago did not recognize environmental justice because we've been doing it for 42 years in Allgale Gardens. Nobody recognized it. No one knows the term about environmental justice. And now to see that everybody has learned about it, let us get our schools to have curriculums that teach our kids about the whole ecological process, because it's not just about human health, it's about everything that supports this planet. My mother used to talk about climate change years ago. She used to call it a change in the weather pattern. People didn't believe her. Today we're talking about climate justice for everybody. So I want to say that this is only the beginning, but we got a long road to go. And I hope to be around to have the opportunity to make the connections with all the development that's coming in this area, particularly with the red line extension to 130th Street. Yeah. Maybe we can have an extension to make this public accessible where people can catch the bus to come to this center. We have to reconnect our children to our environment, to nature. We haven't been teaching them that unless a coyote comes walking down my walkway in my neighborhood, they understand the thousands of birds. So it's important, and I am honored to be here and following in the footsteps of my mom, working to achieve environmental justice for all. And I want to thank you, and I want to bring up my good friend that I've been knowing in this environmental struggle, She do a damn good job. Alderman Gaza, thank you.
Cheryl Johnson. You keep fighting a good fight, sister. And thank you for your mother for raising you right. I gotta say that first and foremost. So I'm really proud to be here today because 7,570 days, or 21 years ago, the Ford Motor Company donated $6 million to build this facility. It's been a long time coming, but good things come to those who wait. This project has been a labor of love for so many people. And Mayor Lightfoot, thank you so much for believing in this. You know, I've always been taught, like, don't start naming people because you'll forget somebody, but Tony Reinhardt, I love you, man. You have always believed in this. Every time I call, I always say you can be in the neighborhood or you can be part of the neighborhood. Ford has always been part of the neighborhood. You've always given back whenever we've asked for something. During the pandemic, you guys have come through each and every time. Marcus Evans, same thing. You're amazing. Same thing, Mayor Lightfoot. You know, you have finally put the 10th Ward back on the map. You put the Southeast Side back on the map. For a very, very long time, people didn't know what we were going through down here. Now they do. But there's a lot of good things happening on the Southeast Side. You are sitting in a facility right now that 5 years ago was just a mound of dirt. My Chief of Staff, Ishmael Cuevas, I got to give him a thumbs up too because he sits on the board of Big Marsh, and the guy practically lives here. Stephen Bell, Paul, Rebecca from REI, Randy from SRAM, and Beth Tomlin from the Chicago Parks District, who had this vision for this place, who had an idea in her beautiful head, and look what you did. When I was a kid, we used to cut across the railroad tracks and come to the marsh and go swimming. Thank God I didn't grow a third arm. Now I bring my grandkids here. I bring my grandkids and we ride bikes, we walk the trails. They hate the insects, but they come anyway. We have a wonderful time here. We've been out to bikes, birds, and beers. We also, I want you to know, we now have like camping things where you can like pop a tent and you can sleep here. Mayor Lightfoot, game on, baby. Game on. It's urban camping. I am so proud of this park. I am proud of what we're doing here. I am proud of all the work that we've put in for so many years. I am so proud for Ford to call us your home. You know, this is a really unique ward because we are an industrial ward. And we can coexist with industry and nature together, and this is a perfect example of that. I brought a lot of my fellow aldermen here. They've come here to ride bikes, and they'll text me in the morning like, oh my God, this is beautiful. I can't believe I'm still in the city. But I want you to think, just envision this for a second. We are sitting on almost 300 acres of a beautiful bike park with an environmental center. We have Lake Calumet, which, you know, should have access, the public should have access to Lake Calumet when this trail comes across. And I'm going to give a shout out to our port director, Eric Varela. Where are you? He has been an amazing partner. I know he's here somewhere. But there are so many amenities. Right across the street, we have Pullman. We have a world-class golf course, a PGA-ready golf course. We have all these wonderful amenities. We have the expressway. You get off on 111 or 115. The infrastructure is here. This could be a destination for families all over the country, which will bring thousands and thousands of jobs. So let's not stop here. Let's keep going. And this is how much of a big deal this is to us here. I brought my own scissors, and these are big because this is a big deal. We're going to transition right into the ribbon cutting, so can I have you guys up here? Beth, I know you have the ribbon. Marcus, Tony, come on. from our surrounding schools will be coming here and will become environmental scientists of the future. That's my vision.
All right, happy to take your questions.
Thanks a lot, Mayor. Any on-topic questions from the media? Any on-topic questions? All right, we're going to start off with Tamam Bradley, Channel 9. 2 questions per reporters. Thank you.
Craig is like you just got here. How can you? Why do you get to go first?
Go ahead, Craig.
That was serious eye rolling. I think we had this. Mayor, the judge ruled in the FOP lawsuit you can continue to collect information on their vaccination status, but the requirement they be vaccinated by the end of the year is going away. While you go back to the bargaining table, your reaction?
No, I don't play lawyer, Tamam.
Okay. No, please tell me about it then.
So we're aware the judge's ruling in the state case today that deny the FOP a TRO, which makes them like 0 for 8, something like that. And we're also looking at the other part of the judge's order, but because we're still examining it, I don't want to get too far ahead, but the mandate continues.
ABC 7.
Is it okay if I take the mouse down so you can hear me? So just in light of that, do you consider this ruling by the judge a validation of the vaccine mandate and the reporting mandate itself?
Well, look, I think you have to look at it like that. If you look at what's happening in court cases all across the country, or whether it's firemen, police, or others that are challenging these mandates, I'm not aware of a single instance in which a mandate put in place has been invalidated. And here in the Seventh Circuit, this really started with the University of Indiana that mandated that all of its students coming back to campus this fall must be fully vaccinated. That was challenged, went up to the Seventh Circuit, and the Seventh Circuit upheld that. That's the basis that the federal judge, and yet another challenge to the city's vaccine mandate, ruled on Friday. But look, here's the bottom line here. We're about trying to save people's lives. And in the reality that the pandemic is still real, people are still dying every single day in our city, and the people who are most at risk, 97% of the people in emergency rooms, in ICU beds, and dying of COVID-19 are unvaccinated. And if you're a person of color, that risk to you goes up exponentially. You are 50 times more likely to die if you're a person of color, 50 years or older, and you're unvaccinated. I do not want people to die in my city when there's a life-saving, free, safe vaccine readily available. That makes no sense to me. So we're going to continue to do everything we can to educate our workforce, but also educate the larger population about why the vaccine is so necessary. It's the only tool that we really have to fight against a pandemic, and it's safe. There's no question about it.
To your point on getting the word out, the numbers that came out from police today show that 80% of the cops who have reported their vaccination status are vaccinated.
Yes.
It's only slightly better when you go citywide, 82.2%. What does the city need to do differently to get more people on board to buy into the vaccine? Because it seems like you're struggling at the same levels.
Well, I wouldn't say struggling. I actually think 80% of people vaccinated, if we had that number citywide, we would regard that as a big success. But what we've got to keep doing is making sure that we are educating people, meeting them where we are. All the low-hanging fruit regarding the vaccine, I think, has already been done. And so we've got to continue our efforts. We're literally going door to door in communities to talk to people about getting vaccinated, listening to what their fears are. And unfortunately, there's still a tremendous amount of disinformation that's been put out there and routinely circulated on social media, and that's a whole other conversation for another day. But what we've got to continue to do is be diligent and determined to break through the fog that's out there about the vaccine and really meet people where they are. And what we've seen is tremendous progress when we're doing that one-on-one work, and that's where we are right now. Poll after poll shows that the people that are unvaccinated, the vast majority of them are still inclined to get the vaccine, but they need more information. And that's our obligation, but also I think an opportunity to really educate them. And no place that we should start than with our own city workforce. So we're going to keep pushing through.
Could I just follow up?
Yeah.
The way the ruling, legal experts saying to us about the ruling is that it has to go to arbitration, and then if the arbitration isn't completed by December 31st, at that point, the TRO would actually have an impact and prevent the vaccine mandate from allowing the city to fire.
Well,
do you think this can get done in time?
Well, we'll see. I'm not going to comment any further. Our lawyers are looking at the judge's ruling and looking at what our legal options are. But what I know is we cannot stop. We absolutely cannot stop. This is about saving people's lives. And all those workers that were out there on the front lines through the pandemic, where there was no vaccine, we have a responsibility to make sure that those people, as well as the rest of our workforce, is safe. And dare I say it, I think the silent, overwhelming majority of folks in city government recognize the need for the vaccine and frankly don't want to work next to somebody who they don't know what their vaccine status is, and then take that risk not only for themselves, but for their families. So we've got to keep meeting people where they are, educating them about the risk, and moving forward to get more and more of our workforce, but importantly, more and more of our city vaccinated. I'm mindful of the fact I'm standing on the south side. And there are still a lot of work that we have to do in these and surrounding communities to reach people and educate them about what is necessary to help them save their own lives. It's absolutely crucial.
Thank you, Mayor. Mariah Wolfel, WBEZ.
Hi, Mayor. Good afternoon. As you obviously know, the city's placed around 30 police officers on no pay status for not complying, but yet thousands are still not in compliance. Now, especially now that the reporting requirement has been upheld by a Cook County judge, will the city start to accelerate the process to put some of those thousands of non-compliant officers on no pay status?
Well, here's what I would say about that. I mean, we've been moving, I think, with deliberate speed and emphasis on deliberate. And just to repeat what the process is, a supervisor will come to an employee and say, I don't see your name as having registered. Is that true or not true? In a couple instances, there's been some glitch in the system. So, but either way, we're encouraging them right there on the spot to sign up. And as you know, it's really about maybe a minute to do it. You click a button, you say yes or no, I'm vaccinated. If you're vaccinated, then you just upload your vaccination information. If you say no, then you go to a different screen and you say I'm going to sign up for the twice weekly testing option. It's really that simple. Really no burden. We're not asking for extensive amounts of medical information. It's very straightforward. And the vast majority of people who have been approached, whether it's police department, fire department, or wherever, and they haven't been on the list, they sign up on the spot. So but that takes time. Now, for those who are still uncertain, there's a continuation of that process. And in a police department, here's where it goes. after they've been given the opportunity, if they've got questions, then we bring people in to talk to them about the vaccine. We are doing that kind of individualized work. So this isn't quick work. In some instances, it takes multiple hours. It's got to be done with supervisors, exempt staff. And then, if after all of that, they're still saying no, then they're given a direct order by somebody in the Internal Affairs Division. And even then, they're given an opportunity to come into compliance. So the fact that we have such a small number of people that are in a no-pay status, and keep in mind, that number was actually higher, but they've come back. And I said this the other day. I think some of these folks have gone home and said to their spouse, guess what? And they said, no, we don't miss paychecks. You go back, you sign up. And so I think we're going to see more and more of that with the judges' decisions, federal court, state court, where the judges are upholding our vaccine mandate. I think some people were waiting, and they were told by FOP in particular, we'll win in court. Well, as I said, I think John Cantazar is about 0 for 8. So at some point, people have to recognize this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's leading them down the wrong path. Sign up on the portal. Sign up on the portal. Save your life and save your family's life, your partner's life, your colleagues at work. This is what this is fundamentally about.
Quick follow-up to that, and then just one other question. The judge in his ruling today said the union's grievances are none other than an effort by leadership to protect their members' rights.
I'm sorry, could you say it again?
The judge,
because I haven't had a chance to, the ruling came down when I was on the road,
sure.
So I haven't had a chance to read it yet.
The judge said in his ruling that the union's grievances are an effort by leadership to protect their members' rights to bargain, and nothing but that. Do you agree with that assessment?
Well, with due respect to the judge, we started this process with the FOP in August. We were only able to get them formally to the table 4 times between middle of August and October. And part of the reason that we weren't able to get them is because the FOP leader said, I'm busy, I'm going on vacation. So with due respect to the judge, I think the record tells a radically different story. Get serious, FOP. Get to the table. This isn't about the FOP, it's not about collective bargaining, it's about a seriousness of purpose around actually saving your members' lives. We lost 4 police officers last year who died of COVID-related illnesses before the vaccine was available. Recently, a senior former leader of the union died without taking the vaccine. I want to just, and as we know nationally, the #1 cause of death in first responders and police officers, COVID-19. So what I challenge the FOP is how many more members have to die before you come to the table in good faith and do the right thing? This is about saving people's lives. And if you're serious about it, come to the table every single day, starting today, and let's get a deal done. So they've not done that. We've offered that multiple times over the 2 months that we attempted to bargain with them. It's just not correct that they're serious about getting a deal done. What they're serious about is obstructing, obfuscating, and telling half-truths to lead their members astray. We need to get a deal done. That's why it took 4 years to get the police contract done. We tried in good faith for 2 years of me coming into office to get them to the table. But obfuscation, delay. And then finally, the uproar amongst their members around not getting their retro pay got them to the table. We can't afford to wait any longer to save people's lives.
Thank you. And then can we get your reaction to Deputy Inspector General Deborah Witzberg's resignation and intention to apply for the IG job today? You've previously said the city is focused on getting a new, strong, independent Inspector General who understands the importance of staying in their lane. Do you think Witzberg is the ideal candidate for the job?
I'm not going to comment on anybody who unilaterally has said I'm going to apply. She can apply, go through the process, and the chips will fall where they may.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Mark Conkel on your right from the patch.
Oh.
How's it going?
We're down on the south side, so Mr. Kunkel shows up.
It's very close to my house. You were at a press conference today with Governor Pritzker about violence being a public health crisis. Mm-hmm. I was wondering if you could kind of shed light on, what this executive order means, and the money that he said $250 million, which is really only $50 million. Like, how is this going to help Chicago?
So we've been treating violence like a public health crisis since before I was sworn in during my transition. So for us, that declaration is not new, but it's important that it's issued statewide, and I welcome the support of the state in the effort that we've been in for 2.5 years here in the city of Chicago. What will the monies that were talked about today mean? We don't know the answer to that yet. That's why I said in my remarks today that we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that Chicago-based street outreach, intervention, and organizations have the opportunity to get access to those funds that are going to be let out on a competitive basis. So I think the jury's out, but it has the potential to really be transformative. We welcome the support of the state, and I've got to commend the General Assembly, Representative Evans is here, and others in the Black Caucus for their leadership on this issue, listening to community members about the need to have lots of different tools in the toolkit to address community violence, and not just the police, although the police play a critical role. But we really need to make sure that community organizations, community members have a seat at that table. And I'll repeat what I said there. I know that when it comes to issues like community safety, we can't just make up a plan on the 5th floor of City Hall and then hope for the best. We've got to be deep in with community. I know the General Assembly understands that, but with the state, they also have to, I think, step up and do the same thing, and not forget that municipalities are on the front lines of this fight every single day. We're not new to this. We're addressing it every single day up and down the state. So I hope that they will continue to be in conversation with us around issues of community safety. It can't be a policy that's cooked up in Springfield and then spread out to the rest of the state. Again, I commend the Black Caucus in particular for really being engaged with us, making sure that they are listening to a city like Chicago. We had a lot of late nights, a lot of early mornings when we were working together in the final language that was passed by the General Assembly, but more work to be done. And my hope is that a lot of Chicago-based organizations are going to be able to get access to those grants. And we made a commitment that we will provide the technical assistance on the front end so that they have the capacity to apply and be competitive, and then on the back end to help them realize and utilize those resources.
The money's from the legislature, not the governor's executive order. Is that how you understand it?
Yeah, I think the General Assembly allocated the funds. The governor signed the law. The governor's piece is the executive order declaring public gun violence as a public health crisis.
And then for some of my neighbors who've been, fighting for environmental justice over here, what's it going to take to tear down that fence around Lake Calumet?
That's a good question. We're going to continue to talk to folks in this community. We put $188 million into the budget that just was passed last week to make sure that we've got the resources that are necessary to really make a big, bold bet on all things environment, including environmental justice, making sure that we've got a world position to take advantage of the green economy that keeps expanding. But again, what we have to do is come to community and have that conversation. And I will make sure that we put that on the top of our priority list.
In that 180 million, is there fence removal in that?
I don't have that level of detail at my fingertips, but we'll look into it.
Thanks a lot, Mayor. That's a wrap, everyone. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.